Hello everyone, Right as Rain here, back again with another video. What came across my feed today is an interesting topic. It's the topic of black fatigue. Now, I know I might not look the part. I might look either white or ethnically ambiguous, but hey, I am light skinned. I'm half black, okay? Let's get that. So, look, I understand that I don't have maybe enough melanin in my skin to talk about the racial injustices that black people feel, and I understand my privilege in that, and I've kind of come to terms with that. I know light skins get a bad rap, not full black people, but hey, I'm still black. My father's black. He raised me. It is what it is, man. If you got something to say about it, I really don't care. Now, black fatigue historically was coined as a term that defines how black Americans were tired and exhausted of the emotional distress and experience of living as a black person in America. That's originally what that term would have been associated with. And what we see now, and very recently, is the term black fatigue being used from black people in the community to and ruin our image. And what I came across was this Reddit post. What's your opinion on black fatigue? It's from r/black ladies. I know it's a random. I'm not on r/black ladies. Okay, I actually looked up black fatigue on Reddit. I'm not on r/black ladies. Okay, it's a safe space for black women. I know it's not me. Anyways, it says I just saw a video with many comments address black fatigue and how real, quote unquote, it is. Black people using loud and unbearable, being loud and unbearable at times, and they just get tired of it. One comment is a healthcare worker who said when he hears us call, he already knows it will be stressful. But I kind of just want to give my preliminary thoughts. I watched a YouTube video as well. It's from Amir Odom talking about why black fatigue is on the rise. It's a very interesting video, and I don't really agree with a lot of the points that he makes, but I still want to appreciate him for bringing up the topic. Now in this video, Amir Odom addresses the black fatigue of which black people are tired of other black people being crazy and not acting a certain way and ruining the perception of black people in America and just in the world with social media and how expansive our connection is with everyone.
And it's one thing to call out the past, but it's another to act like we're living in that. And we're actively not. I can't achieve anything I want to achieve. There's nothing a white person can do that I can as a black person. It's played out and it's fake, it's fraudulent. This was my first realization when I went to a Black Lives Matter rally because I was a firm believer, and obviously Black Lives Matter, my life matters. Yes, it is wrong that, there are the rare cases that a black guy is shot down by or harmed or killed by a police officer. Yes. But why does it take that to happen for us to run to the streets, act a fool, burn down businesses, raise money for BLM, all the whole nine? But nothing happened when we got the YN spraying up the parks. Let's keep it a buck. That is frustrating.
What you saw in that clip, this is from Amir Odom, why black fatigue is on the rise. I'm going to link it down in the description below. And I think a lot of the stuff they talk about in this video, I can deem the points as valid. Whereas you want to hold, especially, I know race is a sensitive topic, but you want to hold the people in your community accountable. In the face of injustice, you want to be in a position to act against that injustice. But at the same time, you want to be there throughout the way. Not just when something happens. It shouldn't take a tragedy to occur in the black community for black people to be together on things, to get together and fight for the right cause. I mean, if we look at America, America's a young nation. 1776. It's not even 300 years old yet. And for, 200 of those years, black people suffered and were second-class citizens. It wasn't until the Civil Rights Act when some normalcy was able to be achieved. The Civil Rights Act occurred not but 70 years ago. That's when the movement started in the late 50s. And it took multiple years of multiple peaceful protests and violent protests to achieve the Civil Rights Act and the ability to go to the same bathroom as a white person and not have our schools segregated. What makes me upset about this black fatigue redefining of the term into modern context is that it just outlines how in the black community there's a lack of accountability of being there for your brother. It feels like this whole argument is I'm one of the good ones, those are the bad ones. And in this video, Amir Odom, he uses a lot of anecdotal evidence to kind of justify why he's feeling it. But he does mention that there is data that can be used to say, hey, there's a lot of black on black crime. Majority of black people commit crimes against other black people. He doesn't drop any stats or anything. This is just more of a commentary style video. But I guess that's one of my criticisms of it, is that he doesn't really, he just feels a certain way because he sees a few TikTok clips. Black people are more than the TikTok clips you see, or the one time you have an encounter with a black person while you're serving a table and they're going crazy. If you were to generalize people in that way all the time, then you can say almost every group of people should have fatigue for the people that act a fool among themselves. I feel like characterizing it to black fatigue is like another way of pinning black people at a lower state than white people or Asians or whatever it might be. We live in a time where black people are afforded the rights that they've never had prior. Meaning, post 1965, we live in a new era where my dad can produce me with a white woman and not face consequences and be lynched at the town hall by a bunch of white guys who are upset by that. To talk about how we have those rights today and be completely ignorant of what our it's not even like our ancestors, like we're talking like hundreds of years ago, like what my dad and my grandpa and my great grandpa went through. Like we're talking one generation of people, the people that raised us. For us to be raised in this privilege, then kind of say, well, we need to get rid of this black victimhood. It's a bit ridiculous and it's a bit ignorant to me, because with everything, we keep history in mind when it comes to everything we do. And that's not to comment on what the points that they made in the video I just showed. I think a lot of what the guy says is valid, but I think the framing of it is like, well, because I ended up in a good spot, because maybe I had my father raise me and my mother there to raise me, that other black people should be held to that same stature. Because of the privilege I received in my life, people who are afforded less privilege than me should have a certain standard by which they act. I guess my point is that one thing the black community is notorious for, and it's kind of showing with this black fatigue concept kind of redefining into this new thing of leaving each other behind. We're supposed to be there for each other. So when someone is acting a fool, they have a mentor, someone they can talk to so they can snap them out or get them on the right path. You know, a lot of these guys weren't born or weren't raised by a father. They weren't raised, a lot of them are impoverished. And from what it seems like from the video, it's like a defense mechanism. This black fatigue term is a defense mechanism for other black people. And I don't even think they've internalized that yet. Because they say, well, I don't act a fool. I don't do none of this. Therefore, I should be good in the eyes of society. Well, guess who society is run by? In America, at least, it's run by white people. Don't get me wrong, we have a very diverse nation, but 60-something% of this country is white? It seems like when that perspective is taken, it emboldens racism. It emboldens white people, people of other races, to say bad things about black people. Be like, wow, I'm black fatigue. Oh, that black woman sitting at the table, here we go. It emboldens stereotypes towards people. It's moving us farther away and more towards that era of Jim Crow than we are progressing ourselves into the future, where we can reach this world that they explain in the video that, hey, we are afforded the same rights as everyone else. We all have the same opportunity as everyone else that black people do. But then when we coin this term, black fatigue, it takes that away. It's like you're robbing yourself, because when you rob other black people, you're inadvertently robbing yourself of the experience of being a black person in America. Am I trying to justify the behavior of the percentage of people that do act a fool, do cause a bunch of ruckus, and really have a bad way of going about life? No. There should be meaningful discourse around that. There's no justifying what those people do. There's always going to be people that just don't know how to act. But I feel like when you embolden a movement like this black fatigue movement, you are basically allowing yourself to say, forget about those guys. They can end up in prison for all I care. And then you throw stats at the screen saying, well, Most black people end up in jail for doing heinous crimes. Most black crime is done to other black people. So it's black on black crime. Yeah, but maybe that's because we're just leaving them in the dust. This whole black fatigue idea just gives so much pick-me energy. I'm not one of those black people. But God forbid you ever have a bad day and you crash out. Now you're going to be labeled as one of those black people that you have black fatigue about. What do you do then? All of a sudden you'll be labeled as one of the bad ones and then you won't know how to act. Let's ditch the labels and let's just be a community where we help each other out and we're there for each other. And we have mentorship in the community so that we can help the people that are struggling and be there for those who need our help, because we live in a crazy world. And if black people don't got each other's backs, then you better hope white people do, or you better hope Asian people do. Let's leave the generalizations in the past and let's just work towards being better and helping the people that need our help. And I'm not saying like you need to do that, but like you can go live your own life, right? But it does nothing to sit here on your pedestal talking about how the bad people are ruining it for people like me. I'm a good guy. Like, stop being a pick-me on the internet. When it comes to race in this country, it's not just straight in your face. There's levels. There's layers. It's an onion. It's got layers. You can't just be like, well, 2025 America, this isn't 1960s. Bro, it's your dad. Your grandpa. He went through that stuff. They raised us. You don't think the way your parents raise you have any influence? It's a bit frustrating because I care about people and I care about the perception, and I care about being a black man in America, despite the privilege I've been afforded by the color of my skin. You know, I don't want the black community to be at odds with each other, because then that leads to further hatred and combat between each other. That just shouldn't happen. So I think we should leave this black fatigue idea in the past before it becomes a means of emboldening racists across the country to say, I'm tired of black people. That's what I think. Let me know what you think in the comments below, and I appreciate you watching. See you in the next video.